I'd like to call the meeting to order. All board members are present. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight is our organizational meeting for the board. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. First on the agenda, election of officers for 2018. Start with,
Do we have to take an oath of office first, or is that later?
no, we
Okay,
don't need to
don't do
take
it.
it because we've
Okay.
done it before.
It's on here. Okay.
First up, board chair.
I'll nominate Kitten Shanebar.
I'll second.
Any other nominations?
I'd do it 3 times, I think.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Guess all in favor.
I move to
okay.
cast a unanimous ballot for Kitten Shanebar.
I'll second.
All in favor. Nomination for vice chair.
I'll nominate Jeannie Kubish.
I'll second the nomination.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
I'll make a motion to pass a unanimous vote for Jean Kubish for vice chair.
I'll second.
All in favor.
Aye.
Madam Chairman, on the next one for treasurer, my condition is not getting any better, and I'm having trouble reading my own writings, so I'm begging out of treasurer after about 8-9 years. I nominate Kim Holden.
Thank you for your many years of service as treasurer.
I'll second the nomination.
Any other nominations?
Make a motion, we cast a white ballot for Kim Holden for treasurer.
I'll second.
All in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, or welcome. No motion. And finally, the clerk, board clerk.
I'll nominate Denny Havlicek.
Second.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other
Motion,
nominations?
we cast a white ballot for Dennis Havlicek for clerk.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Next are meeting dates and times for 2018.
No changes in anything really, is there, except one meeting
No,
in
they're
July?
just one Tuesday meeting, I think.
Yeah, it's about the same as last year. Memorial, is it
The
Memorial Week?
second meeting in May will be held on Tuesday, May 29th, after Memorial Day, and there'll just be one meeting in July, the third week in July.
That's not going to be an issue the third week in July as far as city council or anything, or don't care? Because we've gone 2 and 4, so we're going to change that to 3. Everybody's aware of it, I guess.
We can readdress it
Right.
in May maybe and see if there's any conflicts.
Yeah,
Is
just
it-
so everybody's aware of that it's going to be a
Or
third.
or we can just put it on the 4th.
Yeah.
To leave it consistent.
July is listed as a third Monday, if you noticed. I mean, I certainly don't have any problem with it,
As
just.
soon as people have their summer vacations
Right.
planned, we'll see if we need to address that meeting, if that sounds okay.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the schedule.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the designation of official district depositories.
No changes on anything there. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, except the name change for
Yeah,
State Bank.
Yeah. I'll make a motion, we approve the official, or keep the official district depositories the same as last year.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. If anyone is interested in reading those lists, they're all on board docs on the agenda online. Designation of legal counsel. I believe these are all still the same as last year.
I'll make a motion, we approve the designation, or designate the legal counsel as the same as last year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Next, our designation of official publication forum for 2018 will be the New Prague Times newspaper, the Lonsdale Area News Review, and the school district website, which is the same as last year.
I'll make a motion to approve the official newspapers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Board compensation.
Raises coming? We're laughing.
There's a comparison, compensation comparison to close districts and comparable districts.
I make a motion, we leave it the same.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. And we're pretty much in the middle of
Yeah,
the
it's-
pack,
We are, yeah.
except for Prior Lake, they pay a lot.
Yeah, somebody got some raises there.
Next, school board committee assignments. Janelle prepared a list that leaves them the same as they were.
There might need to be some adjustments on that, I think the one that work with the city,
Yeah, the joint powers.
the joint
I'm
powers, there we
listed
go.
for cities of New
And
Prague
then
and
the meet
Elk
and
New
confer
Market.
would be Jean.
Pardon me?
I'm on meet and confirm. Teachers meet and confirm, I think that, wouldn't that be Jean?
Yeah, so maybe after the
Meaning
meeting, we
like-
can,
I'm on it, but I think it's,
Supposed to be the vice chair?
I think so.
Kitten, maybe after the meeting, go over with Janelle or tomorrow, just to make sure
Yeah,
everything's up to
and
date.
maybe look over the, I know a lot of the PAC meetings ended up being on the same night as board meetings this past year.
I think that's middle school.
Yeah,
But otherwise, I'm fine keeping everything the same if you guys are.
Should that pool joint powers be added to this?
Well, I think joint powers would be just change the names or whatever, it's all the same.
Okay, so the people that are serving on that should be
Yeah.
on here instead.
Yes.
And Ken, on, as far as the PAC meetings, I can talk to the principals, make sure they're not scheduled on our meetings.
okay. And then we probably should maybe have a different, do you still want to be backup for Southwest Metro, Don?
Do you still want to be backup for the Southwest Metro?
Sure. Keep that the
Right,
same.
that can stay the same then. And we'll review that and,
I want to do community ed. Okay, then I'll be your
Unless
backup.
somebody wants it.
Well,
Well, you go together.
okay, all right.
I'll make a motion, we can keep the committee assignments the same as 2017.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Need to designate a board member as MSHSL representative.
I think I've been doing that in
I
voting.
was like,
when
have
they
we had
asked-
this before?
Yeah, I've been doing that, and I just don't think it was listed. I think
I think you're right. I
Mr.
think-
Skoger will always call me up if there was a vote, so.
But it's
Yes.
good to have it be an official.
Let's see, yeah, I mean, I'll
designation.
be glad to stay there, but if anybody else wants it, it's pretty simple.
Make a
I
motion.
suppose.
I'll make a motion to designate Jerry Valerius to be our representative.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, thank you for serving as that, and now you'll be officially listed.
I get paid, huh?
There, we have a resolution designating clerk and treasurer duties to district office staff.
At this time, I'll consider a resolution designating clerk and treasurer duties to district office staff. Is there a motion for that resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution, whereas Minnesota statutes empowers the school board to combine the duties of the office of clerk and treasurer of the school board in one person in the office of business affairs of the school district, whereas the school district has decided to combine the duties of the clerk and treasurer in one person in the office of business affairs. Therefore, be it resolved that the director of business services of the school district is designated by the school board of Independent School District 721 to perform the duties of the clerk and treasurer of the district. How do you vote on this resolution? Don?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Dennis, yes. Item passes.
Next, we need to authorize specified district office staff to make electronic or paper transfers. We'd like to approve authorization for Tim Ditburner, Sandy Lynn, or designees to make electronic or paper transactions from any institution for the district through January 2019.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And finally, we need to authorize the superintendent or director of business services to execute contracts and purchase orders for goods and services contained within the board-approved budget.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That ends our the organizational part of the meeting. Next, we move on to the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
If I can make a note here. We have a council of 7, and I'd like to hear the sweet voices of the women more often this year. The Guinness World Book of Records has already put in 2 people for most motions and seconds, so I think I'd like to hear some sweet voices.
So moved.
Is that a policy?
Which number is it?
We're not making another policy.
Create one.
Let's call it the courtesy policy. How's that?
There you go.
We have 2 action and discussion items tonight. One, we need to approve the ad for bids for the high school roof and chiller project. Sandy's going to present that information.
Yeah, the agenda actually said that Craig Most would be here, but because Craig did such a great job explaining it during the last meeting, didn't feel it was necessary for him to come. And actually, this is just a formality for the board to approve the receiving of the bids. The actual ad for the bids has been running in the New Prague Times already because we were under a time crunch and we only have 1 meeting in December. So it's actually already been running, but just need a formality approval on that.
I'd like to make a motion
All right.
to approve the bids for the chiller project, for the high school roof and chiller project for board approval.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have a ties update, which seems to change daily.
Oh, yes. You know, I've told you the last meeting and via email too, that January 24th will be the meeting where things will be decided. There's still a lot of moving parts. As you know, we're one of 12 school districts that have made an intent to dissolve or to leave the ties cooperative. But we recently attended, Sandy and I attended a meeting. She's going to go over a couple things with her financially where we're at. There's also right now, we just received an email today, there's a private vendor looking to get into the game and possibly buy out ties. So we really don't know what's going to happen, but we can give just as much information as we can as what we know right now. But we obviously don't know what's going to happen completely on January 24th or the cost that's going to come to the district. So Sandy, why don't you take them through that quick?
Yeah, so on the December 20th, Ties gave a lot of details on the 2 options. The first option is to dissolve the co-op and what they estimated those costs to be. It was quite high, those costs were quite high, because they'd have to pay retention bonuses to employees to be able to keep them there. They'd have to pay legal costs as well as a lot of contracted services to bring in experts to try to help, do data queries, help districts go to other systems. It's quite a big job to get some of these districts off of their system. So the total cost over 2 years for us, if we were to stay a member and it would dissolve, somewhere around a little over $300,000 is what it would cost our district. And that is a lot of money. The second option was to reform and to stay a cooperative, but reform, and the costs for that were much less. But they had to make some pretty significant revenue assumptions and so forth. So those costs over 2 years would probably be about $130,000, and these are just estimates that they gave. If we leave membership, we'd have a cash payment as well as we'd have to continue to lease levy for the building. And the cost to leave right now is what I'm thinking is a cash payment in June of about $140,000, while continuing to lease levy for the lease payments of another $43,000 over the next several years, which of course costs our taxpayers in the lease levy. If we leave membership, the one product that we do use, Keep Certified, would double from about $4,500 to $9,000. So because if we were no longer a member, our customer service priority would drop down significantly. We are exploring other options right now for to replace Keep Certified, because whether it stays a district or not, if we're no longer a member, that cost is so high that we're thinking we can find something different to use, and we're looking at that right now. So, I mean, there are some risks to leaving too. Let's say that they were able to sell a lot of their products during that dissolution period of a year and a half. We could lose out on some of that potentially. We're gonna have to make a call at some point, but there's lots that could happen between now and June 30th. And so initially they've given us some numbers, and if they stay the way they are, we're probably gonna recommend that we leave and we make the payment because the risk is too high to do something else. But like I said, a lot could happen between now and the end of June. So
Is that when our final answer has to be, is the end of June, or does it have to be?
June 30th.
Okay.
Yeah. But the vote whether to dissolve or reform by ties will take place the 24th.
Right. But still, even if they vote to dissolve, a lot could happen between now and June 30th.
Yep.
So,
We're in better shape right now. We're one of the 12 districts. If there is good news in it, we're in better shape where our district is rather than staying another year. So, I mean, that is the good news. I mean, we're not as bad a shape as some other districts.
You mentioned 12 schools. You can get more into that group, or is that where it's going to stay at 12?
No, you had to do that by July 1st, so
that's done.
Yep, that's done. You can't,
That's giving notice to potentially leave
right.
yep,
Okay.
which we did that
yep,
last year also, but.
We've done it 2 years in a row.
yep.
But the cost was too high to actually.
Right. The first year it was over $300,000, they told us, because they were including their pension expense in there, their unobligated, their share of the pension obligation at the state of Minnesota. And so that would have been $330,000. At least it's come down to about, between $180,000 and $200,000. So that's good. Excuse me.
And if we decide to leave, do all 12 schools leave at the other 12 may have the option not to leave yet, or is that just, it's our call? So we could be one of the 12, the only one we
Yep.
chose. Okay.
We could. Like I said, lots going to happen between now and they did find out that just a vote to dissolve or a vote to reform, they need a minimum of 200,000 students to survive as an organization. And so if they had a couple of the really big districts not want to stay, they couldn't even stay an organization. So there's lots of factors.
We had our attorneys look at this agreement.
We haven't. I think the superintendents have been, talking a lot, and I think they've kind of, you can speak to that, but maybe you could speak to that. How
Yeah.
you work with the superintendents.
I mean, it's pretty clear cut. I mean, we're just looking at the financial impact. I don't think if there is a concern about us trying to get out, or any of that, I think we'd involve the attorneys, but right now, we've been granted that, so it's strictly a financial thing that we're weighing out right now that, I don't think right now, at this point, we need to get any attorney, because there isn't really a contractual thing we're dealing with.
And there's too many unknowns right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns right now, but I'll keep you abreast of the situation in the next couple of weeks, what happens here.
Yeah, but it's
So-
possible we'll be making a payment to them of $150,000 in June.
Does it look like the other districts are going to be doing kind of the same thing? What's your feel on that,
I've talked to a couple of them, and the ones that I talked to that day, they're feeling the same way. It's like, if they gave notice, I think it's best to leave at this point.
And there's several that wish they were part of the 12.
Sure. We are in a better position than not, yeah.
It seems hard to believe that they have such an ironclad holdup of us. Isn't there any loopholes? This is actually highway robbery if we can't get out of it.
Well, they have bylaws, and their executive committee passed bylaws, and, I mean, that's what it is. We could try to fight it, but there is a lot of pressure among the member districts to go along with this, because what one district does would cost another district money. The money is what the money is, the liabilities are what the liabilities are. So if one district tries to fight it, you're kind of suing yourself in some way, because, I mean, we own ties. So you're kind of suing yourself, and if one district or two districts didn't pay, that means other districts would have to pay more. So it's kind of it's a
Hurting
difficult,
other-
yeah, it's a very difficult situation. That's why with Tim working with other superintendents, there's a lot of kind of pressure to work together on this.
And litigation becomes extremely expensive too. It's not a free thing. It's
Right.
very expensive too. So, and if you don't, come out on top, you've blown the money there too.
Yeah, I guess we would have contacted the attorneys if we were gonna fight. I mean, if we weren't gonna pay it or seeing how we could get out of it, but I don't think that's the right thing to do.
You'd be suing yourself, basically, because we're an owner of ties. So you'd be suing yourself. It's a very unusual situation.
So Sandy, like for the process, when you make that final payment, do they give you a letter of termination? I mean, so that you know that it's the closure, I guess, is there's closure on it, and it's.
I would think so. I know when we get to that point, I'll make sure that we are
Like, there'd be no
free and
added-
clear. Yeah. Except for the lease levy, we could continue to lease levy instead of making a cash payment, and I would recommend that we do that. Continue to lease levy instead of making a cash payment, because that's an additional $45,000.
Any other questions? Thanks, Sandy. Now we need to enter into closed session per Minnesota statute 13D05 sub 3 for the purpose of attorney-client privilege.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for this purpose.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.